Are you there? It's Mondays. It's Arts and Culture Day, and I have my first ever Vogue magazine subscription. Welcome to my world. Come on in. I'm in Studio M, but I have to talk to you about something very, very important. It's private. I'm only going to tell you this one time. So come on in. Welcome to my world. Shh, it's covert. Okay, where are we? Mondays, Arts and Culture. Hi, I'm Colleen Liz Frost, and welcome to my world. What we do repeatedly, we are what we repeatedly do. This is what this man named Aristotle said. Well, this is absolutely true. And my mother has an addiction, or had, because she's passed away. Little do I know, because I'm talking to her all day long. Anyway, it was a year ago, and it just absolutely doesn't seem possible. As I do live in their home, my dad is 93. He's going to be 94 soon. And anyway, I have done something extreme as I am trying to move forward in my life as my very own head coach. So I have officially ordered my very first magazine in my life by myself in my own name. Let me just show you here. When you order your own magazine, you get your own sticker. So it's pretty exciting to see my name on my very first time I've ordered Vogue. And look at how thin it is. And it actually says June and July, which means I might only get it 6 times. So I'm only going to stroke out now 6 times a year. But anyway, this is Cindy Crawford's daughter. Oh, and it's got a vintage dress with a touch of metallic. I mean, is this just not the most beautiful thing to stare at? So I'm just beside myself over this. Anyway, I have much more to tell you. I used to do all my magazine reading of my own magazines in the library. That is until I was banned from my very own library in my hometown. To me, that was the worst nightmare of my life. Well, one of them. It is absolutely in my top 5 nightmares. It happened 18 years ago, and I'm not over it yet. As you all know, I am in therapy. So I'm only going to tell you the story one time. Please do not share this video with your friends, as I really didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. But the cat is out, and the story is going to be told tonight. So let's just go ahead and take your time now. This internet is a very busy place. So please let this be your traveler's rest. Grab some coffee or not. And let's just, today I am your head coach. I am on a mission, in remission. I am celebrating history and creating more. This is going to be something good, I promise. I'm trying to surrender this nightmare, but it has not been easy. And today was such a good day because I am so close to launching something. I'm going to shoot for July 1st for my website, and it's going to be a revelation. This Terry, she was with me today, and it's really helpful. So it is exciting. Wish my artist would get a hold of me. That is a little bit bothersome, but that's okay. I will be trudging forward anyway. I'm on mission, in mission, and I have so much to share with you, but today I just have to get this story out. Many of you know that I have family that buy me my very favorite magazine, which is The New Yorker. I have, hundreds of them. I think I have a storage shed. I'm a hoarder. I'm an organized hoarder. But I just love The New Yorker. It is my absolute, one of my own magazines that I get. So that is, again, my pride and joy. It has essays in them. And I love to look back historically to see what's happened in our world. It's just my favorite thing. However, the Vogue magazine, because I love fashion. I love just everything about what this magazine I think has in it. I haven't seen it for so long because, again, I've been banned in the library locally, and I just would not go buy this. We don't even have it on our bookstores or on our bookshelves here. But here is the biggest unveil. Today, I also, because I'm a subscriber to the magazine, I do have it digitally. So what they sent me today digitally is an article, and what does it have in there? My favorite thing is weddings. I love a good wedding. I don't get invited hardly ever, but that's okay. However, I do tend to look at weddings all the time. My favorite flower, of course, is the cabbage rose. And today's featured wedding, I just want to share with you. I do not know these people, but it happens to be taking place in a field of roses at a glass house. And I bet, Dad, I even showed my dad the whole layout in the magazine. And he just, he let me. And he was so gentle tonight because we kind of had a little disrupt today. And that's okay. And I said, Dad, you have a right to your feelings. And he says, you know what, honey girl, you do too. Him and I are turning out to be just like him and Mom. Kind of fun. Anyway, the field of roses. So if you get a chance to go by your newsstands, or if you can legally go into your own library, I would suggest, if you love the rose as much as I do, pick up your own copy of the Vogue magazine, because it just will take your breath away. And when you see my website, you're just going to love it. Anyway, let's get on now to the story of how I was banned from the library. And it has been one of the biggest crosses I've carried all this time. So let's speed ahead. As some of you know, I have been a breast cancer survivor. And I wrote a book. It's called If You Only Had 1 Year. And for those of you who are happily divorced, I was divorced about 8 months prior to getting this horrible diagnosis. And I had a 1-year-old son at the time, and I lived with my parents here in the home I'm at now. And we're right across the way to our local library, which my son and I were able to walk to with his animal print stroller, because I thought I was in a circus. And we had a circus tent in our home here. And we just, it's a long story. So we just marched over to that library every day and made that one of our outings every single chance we could. And then when I would leave to come back as I wasn't young. Let's just go with that. I was 37 years old with that 1-year-old. So I would bring back my very own magazines. You're probably wondering why this is so important that I had my own. Well, because my mother would get 20 to 25 magazines every month. And so that was just about a magazine a day. And they are fabulous magazines, beautiful. And as some of you know, I like to cook about as much as I like to go swimming, which is not at all. I have cooked, I do cook, I just don't want you to come over for dinner. And however, if you would like to take me out for dinner, that's not an option either. I'm very busy. Anyway, I had salmon tonight and I did a good job. But I will say this, that my mother's magazines are like the taste of home, and think Betty, anyway, she has wonderful magazines, but it's endless recipes. And I would ooh and ah along with her. And if there was a wedding table, or if there was some kind of a decorating or a different font or some outfits, I liked it. If there was current events that were stimulating, I would get rallied up. Or if there was tips or tricks on how to clean, because I love to clean. However, I would go to the library and I would bring home magazines. Then we bought a 1907 all-original opera house. I love the current magazines of our state, so I would always gather up those, bed and breakfast magazines, and so forth. Well, here I come with my usual grocery bag full of magazines. Well, little did I know, as I was planning this opera house with all these new type of magazines from the library, nothing current. It was usually, behind the flapper. I would peel out about 10, 15 per whatever I was interested in, Minnesota Monthly or Minnesota Bed and Breakfast or whatever. And I brought them home. So what does my dad do when he sees this garbage bag full of magazines in the garage? He did not tell me until I think 7 years later. He says, well, maybe I did put those in the van and take them to the red house and put them into the wood burner. Because for the next 7 years, I looked everywhere for that bag. And we have a 30,000 square foot building, and those magazines you can have for like a whole month. So I took them back and forth. I had processed them. I'm all about the magazine. And when you're a young mother or middle-aged mother, you don't have a lot of time to do a lot of in-depth reading. And I had read thousands of books at this point in my life. And I was very active with my son and very busy doing chemo, radiation, and a test drug and surgeries. So I just didn't have a lot of time to put into the breadth of a book. However, I always, at any given time, will have 5 books in operation by my bed. But magazines were the love of my life, and they still are. And as I'm now approaching my new year without my mother, I am intently trying to pick out my next things to do to fill up my day. I've been very busy trying to learn this internet tools, and I've picked the tools I pretty much have a grip on now, and I want to start adding things to put in my space. So let's get back to this library. I lost the bag, so I went to the girls and I told them I'm looking for the bag. So here starts the fine tickets coming in the mail. It was 10 cents a magazine times, let's go with 50. Maybe it was 75. I'm not sure. Well, after 2 years of this 10 cents a unit, it got up to about $300-400. And in the meantime, if you're 30 days late, you cannot check out another book. So let's go back now. I was working in Staples, and I went to console with the Staples Library, who have wonderful people, like our library has wonderful people. But this rule, I could not do anything about. And my son was like 3-4 years old, and he was not eligible for his own card. And I was too humiliated to discuss this with anyone. And you're the first people I've told, outside of one woman from Florida, who is like my favorite yaya, outside of, that's a long story. Anyway, I found out in Staples that they have a rule, they're outside of our library chain, that had I lost those magazines at their library, I could have traded hours for fine dollars. So think about that. I could have worked there for 4 or 5 months and still continue to check out books, something like that, but not here in my hometown. And so do you know that I did not check out a library book for the next 10 years at our library or magazines with a growing son? So this, people, has been one of the hardest things I have ever done in my life, to be able to drive by that library and not be able to go in and check out those books. I found unique ways to get around it. For example, I did ask family when my son wanted to change his name. I had my name changed, and I have since now been able to get a library card in my new name. So I don't go there as often because I'm busy as a caregiver to my dad and my mom. But I tend to really rally up. I think COVID's lifted now, so I could leave the house if I wanted to, and I might just intend to do that on a residual basis with my bicycle. But I'm here to tell you, this has just been something that is still, I'm not over. And I intend to tell my counselor next Monday that, can I brave myself to go in there, face that woman? So I don't know. I'm just wanted to share it with you first to see how it goes over. Is this something that I should let go? And then 7 years after I, have killed myself looking for those magazines, my dad brought that up, So tonight I'm talking to Dad about this magazine, and he, out of the clear blue, he says, honey girl, I'm almost sure of it now. I'm just, I can remember Minnesota Monthly and Four, and Minnesota Monthly and, Bed and Breakfast, and woo, there it goes up in smoke. I mean, he kind of relished the whole thing for me. And I went and got some more coffee, and I'm just like, I'm starting to get dizzy, almost like hot flashes. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to pull through tonight. I wasn't mad at him, but my whole head goes back to those days that Vogue magazine is in that darn library and I can't get there. So you see where I'm saying how important today is? And today's issue, this is Cindy Crawford's daughter. She was practically in the womb when I was banned. So if this is not celebrating history and creating more, Cindy Crawford's daughter is now 19 years old. And I can celebrate that I missed her whole childhood because of a rule at a library that banned me. And now she's in my own name. And it was only $12 for the whole year. And so I'm pretty excited about my new subscription, and I treated myself to this, and I'm just beside myself. So thanks for letting me share. My mother had her magazines and her habits, and I want to repeat the ones that gave us so much joy. Her and I laid in her king bed here when Dad took ill on the main floor, and I became her magazine reading partner. And my son had his magazines, and he loved books. And I just encourage all of us to keep reading. And I have a Kindle and stuff, and I have to decide how I'm going to start reading. And there's podcasts. My girlfriend Kate has 5,500 downloads, and she just started her podcast. So I'm so proud of her. So there's lots of things to put in my ears and read with my eyes, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm working on my play. One more thing. When I became a Vogue member, they sent me a little gift. Look at that. Just want to share it with you. So this is my first gift from Vogue. And I'm just so excited about it. So I wanted to share that. And if you get a chance, I will just give you one last great visual, because today I found my tree, and it's going to be here in October, and it's just that important that I found the right tree, and I was able to get it locally. And might I add that this is what put me over the top today with my dad. I said, Dad, you can take the ball player and get her knees and her hips and her joints might be a little bit past their prime, but put that basketball shoe and give it a little high heel and then hang it in a tree. This is why I love Vogue. They keep reinventing the basketball shoe. For those of us who no longer play, we can still wear our basketball shoes. So I don't know. Thank you for letting me have my moment with my magazines. And this is arts and culture where I live, and I don't know what it is that you like to read, but let's engage. And this is my journal of my 7 days. What is your culture at your library? And you better go check your finds. See what the repercussions are if you are late. And see what happens if you just can't find those books, or if your dad burnt them up in the wood burner. So I'm so thankful to be here with all of you. And Staples, they just have the best library, I think. And I think our library here, it has some rules that are just unattainable for those of us that break rules. And I guess I have to get better. And Mother always said that if you can't fix it, we just have to make things better. So I'm going to get better, and But that is my big unveil of this nightmare that keeps haunting me and haunting me. And I am a family of cats, and we like to stay home. We don't like the water. And I live in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 artists, and Monday's one of my favorite days. And I did. I was filled with arts today, and I worked and worked and worked on my culture and celebrated. And that's what I call building a balance, because we have to take one day a week to bring our arts and culture into view. And that's what I picked. You know, I have my own library card now, so everybody cannot worry. Don't worry for me. But I had my name changed, so that was a good thing. And that's another video. I can't wait to tell you that story. Becoming a preservationist takes time. Tell me your story, because it does matter. Let's engage, gather, and celebrate history and create more. I want you to find your rocks and grab your ball. Build a team and look for a feather. Hope is all around. So jump, bounce, and fly with me 7 days on purpose. I teach it, preach it, and repeat it with the balance. Like, share, and remember that Mondays are for those who dare. Be avant-garde, be rare, and remember me, sincerely, Coach Colleen, Coco, number 33.